On April 1st, 1997, the first episode of Pokemon debuted in Japan. Since that point, the show has gone through multiple seasons, arcs, and even changes to most of the main cast, and now, on November 9th of 2017, the series will celebrate its 1000th episode. Yep, you heard that right, 1000 episodes. Now, ignoring the specials, it's more like 989, but the staff behind the show seems to be including those in their tallies, so, yeah. But damn, 1000 episodes of Ash Ketchum going around the Pokemon world with his buddy Pikachu and his revolving door of friends. And this year marks the 20th anniversary of the show in Japan, too. That's impressive, especially for an anime adaptation of a kids franchise. So today I'm going to talk about my history with the anime, and why it still kind of means something to me even 20 years later. So back when the show came out in the West, I watched it whenever I could. Hell, I still own a VHS tape of the Squirrel Squad episode. But yeah, back in the day, I enjoyed watching the show when I got home from school or on Saturday mornings when they used to have cartoon blocks on the weekend. I didn't care that the show was censored by 4 kids or that the voices were weird. It was fun to watch their adventures throughout the Kanto region. Nowadays, I can see the flaws of the Indigo League saga, and there was a lot of filler. But for a kids show, you could do a lot worse. Besides, it was better than watching, say, Yvonne of the Yukon or Mona the Vampire. The Cyber 6 was some good stuff. Have I mentioned I'm Canadian? Anyways, I watched Indigo League and then Orange Islands, which I also enjoyed. And nowadays, I think both shows still hold up pretty well, despite the latter being a filler season. That said, while the first Pokemon opening is an earworm and still pretty good years later, the opening song for Orange Islands is really cringy. Sorry, but I don't think Pokemon has ever been good with raps in their openings, at least. After these two, however, I started to appreciate the show more when it entered the Johto saga, though that could have also been because Gen 2 was my first Pokemon game. Yeah, I may have watched the anime back then, but my first experience with the games themselves wouldn't be until Generation 2. Johto Saga was also really damn good. It had a lot of the fun the first 2 seasons had, but I also started to appreciate it more because of the story, the improved fights. The animation was also improved, though that became more apparent during the tail end of the saga, and the characters were more interesting, though that may have been because I was older when that season came out in comparison to how old I was when I watched the Kanto/Orange Island saga, so just disclaimer there. And that first theme song for Johto, holy shit, I still remember that one pretty well. It's not anything innovating, god no, but it's still a pretty catchy song, and in retrospect, probably just as memorable to me as the very first opening of the Pokemon series. The second opening to Johto was pretty much a remix of the first opening to the Kanto series, and it's still mostly just as catchy a tune as the original. While the third opening, it's a guilty pleasure for me. It's really damn corny, but I still can't help but smile when listening to it sometimes. So, yeah, I enjoyed Johto Saga. Is it perfect? Hell no. There are some problems with it, like filler and the improved animation taking a while to show up, but I still enjoyed it, and like others, I was sad to see Brock and Misty go at the end of the saga. And now we have Hoenn. By this point, I was probably in what you could call my burnout phase for Pokemon. I didn't really enjoy the main series Hoenn games back in the day, and my memory with the anime itself is pretty foggy, even though I did try to watch it every other week on TV, though by this point, a combination of real-life stuff and interest in other shows did make me lose interest in the Hoenn saga as time went on. Yeah, I'm gonna be brutally honest with you guys, I never finished all of Hoenn. I saw a decent amount of episodes, but there are also a decent amount of episodes I never saw, and by the time I started watching the series consistently again, I was on the Cinna saga. Maybe someday I'll watch Hoenn in its entirety. I'm sure there's a complete series box set out there somewhere, but for the sake of this recollection, I don't have many memories of the Hoenn saga. I did listen to some of the openings in Hoenn, however, since they like to split them up into seasons over here. Pokemon Advance, the first opening was just okay. I didn't really feel any excitement or any catchy beat from the song like the previous ones. It was just an okay song to listen to. The next opening, on the other hand, was much better. It had a lot more excitement to it, it was a lot catchier, which is a fun song. Unbeatable, the final song before they went to the Battle Frontier, also contained the excitement and catchy beat the previous song had, and yeah, I like that one too. Battle Frontier I never saw, so I'm going off modern day opinions on this one, but it's an okay song to listen to. So yeah, my experience with Hoenn is awkward, to say the least. Regardless, I did start to catch up on Pokemon again consistently by the time Sinnoh rolled around, and it was okay. Again, maybe it was because I was older by that point, but I didn't have the same spark the first 2 sagas had. And sure, I did like that much like Hoenn, Brock came back. Yeah, Brock came back in Hoenn. But by this point, his shtick of chasing women had gotten incredibly old. Same with Team Rocket's shtick of capturing Pikachu. Hell, Dawn was a pretty terrible character herself, even after her development throughout the series. I guess by that point, I felt like Pokemon needed something new to the formula in order to stay fresh for the anime. Which it kind of did in the later sagas. So I guess Cinna was just the ugly transition from the old to the new, looking back on the show again. That said, I can't completely hate this show, because for every element of the show I don't like to an extent, there's something in the element I do like that makes it a little better. For instance, characters. I may not like Dawn, but I do like her rivals Zoe and Nando. I may not like Team Rocket much in this season, but I do like Hunter J and most of Team Galactic. And while I may not like Barry and Conway, I think Paul is one of the best rivals Ash has ever had. Yes, he's an asshole, but in terms of rivalry, he's the perfect contrast to Ash in terms of personality, how he raises his Pokemon, and how he fights. The music isn't as good as previous installments, but there are nuggets of good sprinkled in there that make me not completely hate it. Some of the background music is pretty good, and in terms of the openings, the same applies here. The rapping abomination that was Cinna's first opening is thankfully the only case of bad intros I could find in the Cinna saga, because Battle Dimensions theme, Galactic Battles theme, and Cinna League Victors were really damn good to listen to, my favorite being Galactic Battles theme song. So yeah, despite its flaws, I can't completely bring myself to hate Cinna. The same sort of applies to Unova. Now we're getting into more modern opinions, but this generation did come out 78 years ago, so yeah. Anyways, I still stand by the opinion that the first half of Unova, from the beginning to the end of the league, was mostly good. I loved the changes made to Team Rocket for the most part, though they did start to slip back to their old ways after a while, but still, it was a nice change that did last a while. The animation was also greatly improved. I loved Silent and Iris' characters, and even the story was pretty decent. It wasn't perfect, however. Ash getting a worse spot in the league than he did in Cinna was frustrating. Some of the rivals weren't all that great, especially a majority of Iris and Silent's rivals, and in comparison to Paul, Trip was incredibly flat, but for the first half, it was mostly good. Then came the second half. From the Team Plasma arc to the end of that arc with them going around those islands. Oh boy. I didn't like Team Plasma in this. Their plan was idiotic. A lot of the new characters were really uninteresting. The return of Charizard was just okay. The resolution of the Team Plasma arc was incredibly underwhelming, and the arc of them just going around the islands was so boring. For crying out loud, at least the Orange Islands had a league at the end of it. This arc was literally just wasting time until the Gen 6 anime could be released. At least the openings are pretty good all around. Cheesy as hell, yes, but still pretty good nonetheless. Finally, we have the Kalos anime. I went over this before in other videos, but to me, Kalos is probably one of the best sagas in the anime. From a good cast of characters, to the improved animation, to the storytelling, to the character arcs to making Team Flare an actual threat, and even the battles, Kalos was a lot of fun. But yeah, I could probably do a separate video on why I love the Kalos saga, but that's not important right now. But I guess you're probably wondering, why make this video? Why do you even care about this anime anymore? Because honestly, even though I'm not a diehard fan of the series anymore, I still have fond memories of the anime, and as shown with Kalos, it reignited my love for the series that has started to fade after Hoenn. Sure, there are better shows out there, but whenever a new season/saga or a movie from this anime comes out, I always try to set aside some time to watch it. Even though it has its moments of bad, and while the newest series isn't as good as Kalos, though that could potentially change, we're not done with the Lola yet, there's always a small place in my heart for the anime. So congratulations to the staff that made the Pokemon anime. He made it to 1,000 episodes. Hopefully you will continue to entertain kids and fans for years to come, but only time will tell. So what are your stories with the anime? Where did you drop the series? Let me know in the comments below. Until then, I'm David Grimm, and thanks for watching.